Hello up there. It's Brad J. Lamb. You too can become a condo millionaire. The Todd Shapiro Show. Canada Laughs. SiriusXM 168.
Brad J. Lamb sits in the house looking great as always, dude. How you doing, man?
Doing well. Can't complain.
You look well. Every time Brad comes in here, I go, I got to clean up my act. I got to clean up my...
At least wear a suit or something.
Right? Like, I put on a suit and stuff.
Or maybe shave.
That's not happening.
That's like time consuming.
Or cut your hair.
Yeah. Sound like my dad still. How's everything going? How's everything going with you? You doing well? You're in Disney World, weren't you?
Yeah, I took my 3.5-year-old to Disney World for 4 days.
It's the craziest look on their face when they see it for the first time, right?
It's incredible. I went by myself. Well, myself and my daughter. And it was tough. It's a lot of fucking work, man.
Oh, yeah, I can only imagine.
She insisted on going on my shoulders for the entire time I was there.
Yeah.
And it was like 100 degrees or 34 degrees. I must have sweated about 13 pounds of water. It was brutal. So it was fun though. It was great.
So, Brett, as a new father, who I'm doing my best to be a very active father, and at times it's exhausting, it's tiring. I want to get on my phone and do some business. I want to hustle, try and get clients, blah blah blah, book big guests, all this kind of thing. What advice would you give to be a dedicated father and to kind of deal with the elements we're faced with? Because having a kid is still the best thing in the world. So, what advice would you give though?
Well, the thing is, you can't get the time back, right? So what I'm very aware of is how fast she's growing up. Like, it seems honestly like she was born yesterday, and she's now going to be 4 in November, and she's a person now, and not a baby anymore.
Yeah.
And it just happens so fast, and they're really amazing moments and memories. So I want to be around my daughter as much as I can. I mean, I can't be around her all the time because, as you know, we're separated, heading towards divorce, but. I see her 12 out of 28 days.
But that's, going to Disneyland, that's gutsy. How many princess-themed things did you do during the week? Or how many tutus or tiaras?
She was a princess the entire time.
Oh, yeah.
She dressed up as a princess 24/7. We went to a princess...
the tea.
Princess tea.
The tea.
At the Grand
Not that I know
Floridian.
that. I'm sorry.
I'm a little worried how Brad knows all this because you don't have a daughter.
No, but when I worked at Breakfast Television, we did a show at Disney every year.
Yeah.
So I would see the dads walking around with a.
I was the only dad.
Really?
We were all moms at the princess tea.
Oh, that's amazing.
And me. And 2 princesses, and then the 8 other princesses that were little girls. And my daughter was so pissed off about being there. I'm like, it cost a fortune. You're a princess around princesses. What could you possibly be mad about?
This is a dream.
She's just mad, So it took her, it was an hour and a half kind of thing. They do dancing and singing, and I'm just like,
it's true.
Fuck, smile, And it took her 45 minutes. And what actually broke the ice was one of the princesses. I don't know if she's from one of the Disney fables. Sat down beside her and hugged her and started talking to her, and everything changed. She just smiled, and she's just so happy, and everything just changed. It was like a complete different girl. So the last 45 minutes were great. She's smiling the whole time, having fun. But I was like, "Fuck, what am I gonna do?"
Where's the loaded gun?
Did you meet any nice queens?
Actually, interestingly,
I was gonna say I didn't want to step there first.
This is for children. This is for princesses, right? So I'm sitting there eating my little tea sandwiches, and I look over my shoulder and I see 2 guys in the princess party, 2 grown men who are enjoying the princess party.
Okay.
They love princesses, I guess. And, they danced and had tea and got all the gifts that the princess doll and everything they gave. It was a little weird. It was just a tad bit weird, but whatever. To each his own.
I love that, though. I was just sitting there minding my own business, eating my princess tea sandwiches.
Have you been following what's going on with Colin Kaepernick, the quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers? Maybe not the quarterback anymore. We don't know. Apparently he's going to be cut soon. What are your thoughts on him sitting down during that national anthem?
Well, here's the thing. I think national anthems are a little bit... I'm not sure they're necessary anymore, but here's the thing. In the United States, national anthems are big, right? And by doing that, you're really slapping the face of the average American that buys into the American dream.
100%.
And I'm not sure what his overall beef is. I'm not sure what I don't know what he's. Is he upset with the shitty candidates in the election? Is he upset with Syria?
Everything. He's upset with, a lot of it was obviously Black Lives Matter.
Yeah,
but he is, and Brad, just a little closer to the mic. Sorry, I don't have Jay.
Sorry.
Yeah, no problem. Thank you. But he's upset by the state of America. He's actually a pretty educated dude, man. I was really impressed because the reporters were calling him out on stuff and why did he do that?
He's very smart.
And he's a very smart guy, and he backed it up in a very calm manner without sounding defensive, without sounding like, he was a victim. He was just sort of what he represented. He wanted to kind of raise awareness to do this kind of stuff.
Well, listen, here's the thing. It's a free country. We live in a democracy in this side of the world, and it's one of the few places that you can air your beefs. And so, if it was that important to him, then okay, he has to understand what it means to Americans when you do that. So, if I don't know his overall problems, but I will say this: that I think that there needs to be reparations for American slavery for 300 years. There's never been proper reparations to black individuals that are somehow, genetically related to that period. And that period is the cause of the black issue that exists in the United States today. Plain and simple, that's the cause. You go back and you see what happened to blacks in that time and what happened to blacks when they were freed. They never freed. And so in my mind, if I was a black, if I was a powerful black individual in the United States, I would be hiring lawyers for class action lawsuits against the citizens of the United States. There should be reparations for that.
Like how Canada's always been sort of with the Inuit community here and with, things like, because, with the tax breaks and thing, right?
Native Canadians or Aboriginals.
Native, yeah. Sorry, exactly.
There should be free education. There should be tax breaks. There should be a whole host of things to get that population to the same level as the white population. It's completely fucked.
I wonder within the African American community if that's ever sort of been discussed, because you always, and this is why when you come on, I always see something differently that my mind would have never thought or that I wouldn't ever have read in the mainstream media. I'm being honest, and that is something like, and that to me comes from sort of your business world. Like, how do we have a class action suit? How do we get the money that is appropriate back to us? And how do we kind of help create this this divide much more equal? And a lot of it has to do with sort of money and free education and really helping from that side, right?
Yeah, but the funny thing is that if it ever happened, if that ever happened, where there was some kind of reparations to people that could trace their heritage to the black era of slavery, all it's going to do is increase everyone's lifestyles in the United States, because you're going to take 50 million, 25, 30 million, I think it's 10%, or is that the right number? 25, 30 million, 40 million black people that live in the United States. Obviously there's many black people who are successful and don't need reparations, but I'm saying the ones that have never had an opportunity through some form of amazing skill to get out of that situation, if we help those people get educated and get into better jobs and you mentor their community and their children, then the whole system in the United States is going to be pulled up financially and everyone's going to do better. So whatever was given is going to be gotten back tenfold by think of all the murders and police problems and drug problems and gangs and things. It would be, if it was a 50-year project to end that, it would be so much of a better country, and everyone would be richer for it.
Do you think, though, a lot of people say the calm before the storm, but don't you think this is the storm before the calm? The fact is that racism and the cultural divide is something that's learned. It's not something you're born with. You don't one day show up and say, I don't like somebody because of their race or their color. It's something that you're taught by values, morals, and stuff like that.
Lack of values or morals.
Well, no, it's essentially the same thing. But aren't you excited for the next generation that sees the conflict that's going on TV right now? And this is the first generation, the one that's younger than me, the kids that are just getting born now, that have the ability for the first time since the 360 years of slavery happening, the first generation that can actually grow up and not see a racial divide through color.
But the problem is that there is a racial divide through color because of the economic limitations that black people face. So we can all say, like, white people can actually truly believe that black people are the same and equal in every way. But if you go through Baltimore and you see how
Right.
Hundreds of thousands of people live. You go through Compton, you go through all the slums of the United States where these people are forced to live because of economic circumstances. The fact that you're now saying, our hearts are open, you're the same as us, but nothing's fucking happening.
Right.
There has to be a settling of accounts. We have to get those people, so that they have a chance, and they don't have a chance now. And it's up to us. I mean, I'm not American, but we have a similar problem in Canada. It's not the same. We didn't have the legacy of slavery, but black people here are not I don't want to sound like it's not all black people. There's a tremendous number of disadvantaged black people in Canada too, and and a lot of them are actually Jamaican and Caribbean descent, and they were a party to slavery, and we didn't necessarily support that, although I guess indirectly there was support, but these people in our country need help too.
So there has to be some sort of fiscal policy to get them disenfranchised, like to make them not disenfranchised from the community.
Yeah, the only way to solve, the violent crime in the black community is to economically boost their reality.
And as great as that sounds, is that something that do you think is pliable? Can we, how?
Well, let me tell you something. So I think I told you I have a scholarship. Did I tell you that?
Yeah.
Okay. So
engineer, right?
Yeah, engineering scholarship, up to 4 kids a year, and you have to be of black origin. So you have to be either Caribbean or African descent to get my scholarship. You have to. And, I remember telling people I was going to do this, and why are you doing that? Like, because this is needed. Yeah. Like, it's a small thing. It's $20,000 a year. It's not a ton of money, but it for those people that can't get into university because they don't have any money, it's a life changer, right? And so more people have to do stuff like that, like help people that need help.
And imagine what those kids that receive this scholarship, what in change they're going to do with that and the opportunity you're providing them.
Yeah, you get so maybe in my lifetime of doing this, maybe I'll get 20 new engineers out there, right? And those 20, but by the way, when I was in engineering school, there wasn't one black kid in my engineering class of, 300 people, which is a shame. But they're going to have children, and they're going to have, cousins, and if you can educate people and get them a good economic future, that is going to mentor all the people in their periphery. So maybe the guy's brother is not a university educated guy, but his kids look up to him and say, "Hey, uncle, how do I do this?" Right? Well, kid, what you do is you go into school and you study hard and you get good marks, and then you can get the Lamb Scholarship or one other scholarship, because you can get any scholarship, doesn't have to be mine, but this is how it happens. So there have to be examples of success, and then these people mentor other people, and that's how it happens. It's small steps, and then it's a waterfall, right?
Can radio show hosts qualify? I have a feeling we're the only ones that aren't allowed. Brad J. Lamb is hanging out with us at TorontoCondos.com, and I guess I just wanted to bring it back to a little bit of the Colin Kaepernick thing, and as great as it is, and I love when people make a stance, because we're through social media and through these bigger audiences, aside from his team, because he might actually be cut from training camp. He might not even actually be in the NFL anymore. You can use those as some sort of example to then get to people where people can try and make a difference. But the other thing I think sometimes is, and I'll say this when a lot of Bernie Sanders supporters are out there, who is so about creating this sort of equality and really getting rid of this divide and all this kind of stuff. And when I look at a guy like Colin Kaepernick, and I don't know his actual net worth, but I can only imagine being an NFL quarterback. Brad, what you're a former CFL player. What is he? What is he?
Former, yeah.
Was he worth $50 million?
I think he signed a huge deal after the Super Bowl that year, so his net worth is, at least after agents and everything else, $20 million.
Okay,
yeah,
20
minimum, 20 or 30.
So imagine if he, not only sat down during the national anthem, but actually said, "Here's a tenth of my salary. Here's $2 million. Yeah. Let's go and create some sort of community center. Let's go and create an area for young, whether it's African American youth or just young youth who, are in, sadly, these troubled neighborhoods. Get them together with the police. Let's have town halls. Let me facilitate it. Let's play some sports after. Sometimes I think that would be more effective. Do you kind of see where I'm getting at?
But he might be doing that.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. A lot of NFL players give back a lot.
Oh, yeah.
To the community. So
okay.
he might be doing that.
No, that's fair. I mean, mean, I guess I haven't heard him say any of that stuff. And, I want him to do both is what I'm saying. And, kind of put your money where your mouth is as well, especially when you have that kind of money. Switching topics a little bit, cities such as Amsterdam, Zurich, Berlin, London, they've all implemented or are beginning to implement the idea of a night mayor, my apologies, someone who helps govern the nightlife goals of a city, amongst other things. And you think, I look at the nightlife in Toronto and look how this city is absolutely blowing up that way, and the kind of tourism it creates and the kind of money it brings into this great city. Do you think that would work here or something like that?
Yeah, so what the night mayors do in those countries.
Brad, you're laughing because I fucked up the question. I know why you're laughing.
I'm just saying nightmare. That's just such a...
Okay.
Yeah, what the nightmare does.
I'm John Torr's brother. Steve Torr, the nightmare.
So what they do is there's multiple goals. They want to increase city revenues, city taxes, by having more people visit the city and enjoy the night time fun. So in London, for instance, they have 24-hour liquor licenses. They have liquor licenses at 2.
24-hour?
Yeah. They have liquor licenses at 4. And the idea is that you don't have 1 million people a night, or whatever it is, 2 million people a night, all descending out of bars, hammered, wrecking public property, and making it expensive for the police to maintain order. So if you can step it, where some people are going home at 2 because they can't stay out later. Some want to go out to 4 because they kind of staying out till 4. And then there's guys that stay out all night because they're degenerates like me. I'm that guy.
Like you.
Yeah. And so you first of all, you increase the revenues because people are spending money, and you increase then the taxes, and being known as a fun city increases tourism, which is great. And then it also decreases public malice to buildings and things. So I think Toronto has experimented with 4 a.m. Closing times during certain things, like during the film festival.
Which is, how would your response be from the 4 a.m. liquor license?
I think it's great.
You think, have you been on the streets though?
I think it's amazing.
You think it's amazing for personal partying reasons, don't you?
No, listen. Here's the thing. I spend so I'm just one person, but if I have another 2 hours, I'm spending another $200.
Yeah,
and
that's true.
If there's like 10,000 people out, then that's a lot of money. And so I think what we should be doing is Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We should have special closing hours Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We should have some late night licenses for things like nightclubs, not pubs, but nightclubs, and they have to prove, these organizations have to prove, or bars or nightclubs have to prove that they are able to contain the madness as it goes out into the street. If they're going to get to make an extra $5,000 or $10,000 a night, then you can invest in security to make sure that people safely get out of there and don't cause public mischief. But I mean, it's a huge moneymaker for the city, and I think we should be listen, I'll volunteer as a part-time night mayor. John Tory, hire me. I'll do it for free, and I will increase the revenues in the city and the taxes.
I was going to say
free
during the Toronto International Film Festival, or TIFF. I live literally right on the TIFF building.
Yeah,
and it is possibly one of the loudest and drunkest corners of Toronto.
That's amazing, isn't it?
I've ever seen. When you're walking home late at night, you're not terrified for your life. You're terrified for these people's lives.
Yeah.
Because they're doing the jig step.
Yeah. Well, I've been a part of that sort of atmosphere, living downtown my whole life, and now I don't go out as much anymore, obviously with the new kid and stuff, but. I actually always loved that kind of rush at the end of the night. To be honest, what I used to do, Brad J. Lamb, is some nights I wouldn't even go out. Yeah. And I would leave my house at 2 a.m. well rested, because I used to get up really early mornings doing the old show. And I would come and I would try and pick up chicks at like 2 a.m. at like the pizza place on the corner.
A bad man.
Well, I mean, I looked great. I looked better than anyone else. I didn't stink of booze or cigarettes or anything. And then I would find the ones that were leaving without guys. And, I was successful a lot of the time.
What a great idea.
That's pretty brilliant, right?
Yeah. Never thought of that.
Yeah. So, I kind of like that rush. But I do like I understand what you're saying about stepping it, so you don't create that 4 a.m. commotion. Both of it's good. Like, the energy's good. But, Toronto's such a big city. Do you feel like it's a safe city still? And this is for people listening abroad and who want to come here and travel and be a part of the tourism industry here, because it's phenomenal. There's so much going on. But then you'll see reports like you saw yesterday at the CNE where there's all these fight outbreaks and everything. They shut it down. Do you think we're still a safe city?
Yeah, I think we're one of the safest cities in the world. And based on our population, we're unbelievably safe. But you know, that one more thing with this nightmare thing. So you could also have movies airing at 2 a.m, right? Like why is the last movie at midnight or 11?
So you're saying break the social norms of what would be considered a night and say, you know what?
Sure, there are people who like to stay up late,
Which is smart because you know what?
There's no 9 to 5 anymore. People don't like 9 to 5. I mean, it doesn't work in my life. Yeah. My only question is, what would some of the fears be? Like, what would some of the people who are against sort of having this nightmare, or maybe actively actively sort of promoting way more social events, movies, bars, nightclubs, whatever it may be, happening at night?
Of course there's going to be some repercussions that are negative, but I think, like I said, if you provide the licenses on a responsible basis, so we're just talking like drinking's just part of it, right? There's like restaurants, you know, if you can't, like, if you don't have any skill to cook and don't want to, and let's say you work, you know, odd hours, maybe you're a bartender, you get out at 2 o'clock, you're hungry, you can go get Chinese food in Spadina, you know, greasy, horrible stuff. There's no place to go to get, like, why don't we have restaurants that are open 24 hours, other than like Fran's or, you know, stuff that's bad for you? Why not have restaurants?
And are they not allowed? Is that a licensing thing?
Well, I don't know. It's probably a liquor licensing thing, but I think also what it is there's no demand. So they're not going to stay open and keep their staff there if people aren't coming.
Yeah.
But if we promote Toronto as a nighttime city around the world, like, why do people go to Vegas? Why do people go to Miami? Why do people go to New York? Why do they go to London? They go there
to party all night long.
Right. Well, so some people. So the thing is, there's that for sure. But then there's other people that would want to be on the periphery, maybe not drinking or partying, but want the benefit of the late night stuff.
Right. Because
restaurants and movies.
Because
and business.
What we're thinking about right now is all three of us is the drinking aspect of what's going on here. Whereas Brad J. Lamb is trying to expand. I feel like this is your speech for your nightmare acceptance speech. It's not just about drinking people. There's other social aspects that you can do from the hours of 10 p.m. to 6 a.m. that don't involve drinking.
And there are.
Mind you, none of them are fun.
No. Let's sort of refer to Vegas here for a moment. There are 5 major players in the casino industry that are considering putting forward a bid for 3 GTA casino sites. And I know I don't want to sound too Toronto specific to everyone listening, but you know, the growth of the city, and when you get to the city, you'll understand why we're talking about it more than the other Canadian cities. After the recent failed bid to put a casino on Toronto's waterfront, what is your take on sort of this recent news that maybe it will happen again?
Well, I'm all for casinos. I'm all for adults being responsible in their conduct, and if you can't control yourself in a casino, then you should be in the casino. But I don't think government should be determining whether you can. I think casinos are great. I love casinos. I gamble whenever I go to Vegas or you know, any island at a casino where they have a casino. I spend hours gambling. I don't spend, you know, thousands of dollars in losses. I win, I lose, but I find it enjoyable. And I think it's another thing that listen, Toronto's the greatest city in the world. It's the center of the universe in my mind. And
really?
For a lot of reasons.
Wow.
Yeah, I think it's the best city in the world. If you measure the 20 metrics that make a city, Toronto, I think, scores number 1 in any city in the world. And, you know...
Sorry, so what would some of those metrics be?
One of them you talked about was safety. Like, you know, young women can walk around this city in comfort, knowing that it's very unlikely that they're going to have a problem. Sometimes guys are drunk and they hit on them and stuff, but by and large, it's a very safe place. It's a wealthy city that provides a lot of employment for people. You know, we're a culturally and we're a ethnically open-minded place.
Yes.
Right? Which is really great.
Isn't it great?
Yes.
I think it's one of the, like, to me, that's the greatest part about living here, is how we really are one. When you see, you know, you go down to Jurassic Park, it's like, you know, when the Raptors are doing that's the greatest. White guys, black guys, brown guys, you know, everything. You know, we're all just hanging out, man. It's the way it should be. They're all the same person. Yeah. We're all the exact same person.
Yeah,
I love that.
We all want the same thing in the end.
Yeah.
And, you know, also, you know, we've got great restaurants, great nightlife, great hotels. We've got 5 five-star hotels. No other city in Canada has 5 5. I mean, Calgary doesn't have 1. Edmonton doesn't have 1.
Oh, trust me,
Ottawa
I can tell
does
you.
not have 1, right? Montreal has 2. We have 5, and you know, and more coming, right? So this is an amazing city. Those are just a few things. Go on forever about it, but I think Toronto's a fantastic place, and we should be very proud to to be.
Is the Trump Tower a 5-star?
Absolutely. I love the Trump Tower. It's a great hotel.
Now, the Trump Tower in Vancouver is nearing completion this fall. The word is that there are buyers from overseas who will be subjected to that new 15% tax that we know drives you crazy.
Yeah.
The developer is allowing these purchasers to ensure they close and not walk away from the sales, assign the unit to a relative in Canada for a small fee. What are sort of your thoughts on that process? And it's just another issue coming to the forefront with this tax.
Well, I'm all for fucking that provincial government as hard as you can over that tax. Anything you can do to hurt that premier, I'm talking through the tax, not through any other means. I'm not talking about any physical
there's nothing
hurting.
threatening. No.
I'm just talking about embarrassing her for that stupid move.
It drives you crazy.
You know what? Sales in Vancouver down 60% for detached homes in August. That's like Great Depression numbers.
Well, explain the tax for those who don't understand it.
Well, I mean, we talked about it.
We
for the
have
last
talked
4
about it in the
weeks,
past.
but So it's a 15% land transfer tax for non-residents, mostly Chinese buying in Vancouver, and it's draconian. There's no place in the world that has a tax like that. That's just completely nuts. Nuts.
And you see some serious repercussions from it affecting the Vancouver
I'll
sort
tell
of
you what.
housing market and then their financial stability.
Chinese people will not be buying in Vancouver anymore. It's over.
Is it good for Toronto?
Yes.
All right.
They're going to be buying in Toronto. It's destabilizing. We don't want a horde of people that we're no longer looking here to invest in because it's going to change our pricing structure. So our houses will go up 20% a year. We don't want that. This was a stupid tax. The Prime Minister should get involved with this. Honestly, it's destabilizing to have one place in the country penalizing investors like this because it's going to affect Calgary. It's going to affect Montreal. There'll be wherever there's a Chinese population, there's going to be growth in sales, and it's like a unfair allotment of sales that weren't going to happen, and they're going to affect the citizens of this city and other cities in a negative way because of it. This woman should be impeached.
Tell us how you really feel, Brad.
I'm not telling you how I really feel.
Brad J. Lamb Realty. Go to torontocondos.com. Don't let the website name fool you, as he's got developments in Calgary, in Edmonton, in Ottawa. You got a beautiful one in completion soon in Calgary, right? I saw a picture of.
Yeah, we have a spectacular project called 6th and 10th. Black metal. You know the project down on the water on the river on the Humber River. It's got the black metal.
Yeah.
Really cool looking project. It's kind of like that, but it's a tower. It's a really tall tower, and half of it's black metal, and the other half's glass. And
Like it should be in Gotham. Like it's that cool.
It is a Death Star. It's fantastic.
Yeah.
It's a Death Star.
Yeah,
Very
it's
cool.
Very cool.
If you're in that area, go and make sure you make a great investment, or perhaps just go and live there. Why not? And then we are. We're kind of not 100% there, but we're like 92% there. Going to be broadcasting next week in the TIFF for the TIFF in the Theatre Park building, Brad J. Lamb's building, the 45th floor penthouse. I'm so excited to share pictures on social media to talk about that. Like, we are going to have the coolest gifting lounge in all of TIFF, and that includes, the e-talks and the bells, whatever. This is a spectacular place, and there are going to be celebrities there. There's going to be influencers there. Brad J. Lamb will come join us. Our regular guests, of course. We're so stoked for it, man. So thank you again for helping us out with that.
You are so lucky.
I know, right?
And then I feel like he's about to say, now go check out Brad J. Lamb for nightmare.com.
Yeah, we're going to start that website. Thank you again for your time, my man.
The Todd Shapiro Show. Canada Laughs. SiriusXM 168. The Todd Shapiro Show.
All right, we really appreciate you watching that video. Make sure you check out some more videos. Why not? Let's get caught in the Shapiro Show vortex right here. Or you can subscribe to the channel right here and check out videos at any point, because we're going to give you all the alerts. We do appreciate you being a part of our family. Most families hate each other. Not ours. We love you.